curious what you guys know about storytelling, and not like, the tale of Shrek or, J.R. Tolkien or, J.K. Rowling or anything. We're talking about brands telling a story to entice their users or customers to make a specific action. Typically that's selling something. That could be me doing a service or getting a client since I'm a designer. The point of this is we I want to talk about the core elements of a brand story that's going to build you loyalty. So brands like Tom's, Patagonia, they have some things in common, and they tell powerful stories that resonate with massive audiences. That's how you sell a brand. And so, for instance, Tom's sells a pair or donates a pair of shoes for every pair of shoes sold. I didn't know that'd be a tongue twister when I wrote this. And Patagonia, obviously they're obsessed with environmentalism and activism on sustainability, and their stories will compel action. I will say I haven't seen a Tom's commercial for a long time, but I do remember like years ago when they'd be hitting everywhere, and I was like, Tom's, who the hell is Tom's? Um, so where are they at anymore? I don't know. Obviously, they're not. I'm not their target market, so maybe they're doing their job still. So, and obviously, there's a lot of things going on in this world, and it's so overloaded with options. Having an authentic and compelling story is really more important than ever right now. It doesn't matter if you're selling shoes or you're a designer or you're really just trying to start your own gig. You need to be able to have a compelling story, sell yourself. So this video, like I said, is focused on creating a brand story, and one of these three steps to creating a brand story that wins clients. It's something we went over in another video. I will link that in here. Um, so this is a more of a short and sweet version, and if you want, more juicy details, I'll link the article that I created on this. Side note on that too, I just actually started this newsletter because instead of having people pay for Medium, it's not very expensive. I like writing. I want to do a newsletter so we can just deliver that straight to people that care about designing a better life for themselves. And just go straight to their inbox. It's called the Bald and Bold. So of course we used this branding right here. We'll see if it works. This is all just a test, and I think this is kind of fun. You guys are along for the ride on this one. It was recommended for me to do that and just kind of share the articles in another spot, aka newsletter. Anyways, back to the real deal here. So, a well-crafted brand story conveys your identity, its values, and the vision. So, by sharing something authentic and those relatable stories, brands can build like a really strong connection, with their audience, and that fosters a lasting loyalty and success. Two things that are pretty important, right? So, how can you create this story that commands loyalty and connects with an audience? Let's go through those elements together. So, step number uno, one. Don't know any other languages off the top of my head. And also, while I'm on camera, I get kind of nervous. So, step one, authenticity and relatability. So people can smell out bullshit fast. We're getting good at it. You're going through TikTok, you're going through Instagram, social media. I don't know what else we got going on in this world, but it's a lot of stimulation. We're getting better at sniffing out bullshit. So for my brand, embracing my quirks helped me, connect with clients who valued authenticity, who wanted someone that was maybe, I don't know, seemed interesting, but could get the job done. So some tips for authenticity would be, do like an audit of yourself. Ask if your brand reflects who you truly are. So if you're passionate about landscaping, like, are the things you're reflecting everywhere across your brand, whoa, That could be business cards. That could be your elevator pitch. That could be when you're going door to door. I know in Arizona, it gets aggressive out here. And like, they're always out trying to, say, hey, you need landscaping. I don't really know anymore because I don't live in a house. I live in an apartment. We ain't there yet. But the point is, go through everything you got with your brand, yourself. Make sure it's reflecting who you truly are. For me, that was just being a little quirky. You want to share your imperfections. People connect with human stories. I try to kind of add some sort of my little origin stories and things like that to see if people can relate. Who knows? Haven't got a lot of feedback on that yet, but we're still out here. So it's still a great thing to do. And always use personal voice in your messaging, which makes it relatable. I tend to ramble probably too much, so I don't know if my personal voice really gets through, but maybe that's my personal voice. But the point is, authenticity is number one. Number two, clear purpose and mission. So, what's your brand's why? That's really important. Your purpose should connect, to your audience's values. For example, a solar company should focus on sustainability. I guess framing this in a designer's standpoint for myself, I've found myself passionate about startups. I like like the underdog story, or people that are trying to like just kill it and do the best they can, and just kind of working really close with their team and doing, trying to take over the world. Obviously, big companies are here to stomp us out. Respect, don't kill me, Amazon, YouTube, Google. But that's just something that I found kind of is a good purpose for me. So with that, I want you to do one thing now. So take out that little scribbler, this pen, pencil, paint, finger paint, whatever you like to do, and create a one sentence purpose statement. Make it clear and relevant, and test it with your audience. So what is that one thing that drives you? I gave my example, and I gave another example. Now think of yours. So now we have 2 steps done there. We have authenticity and relatability, keeping those in check at all times. Number 2, clear purpose and mission. And now we're on step number 3. You want to make them feel emotion. So we want to be making them happy. We want to be making them cry. Hopefully happy tears, obviously. Reminds me of a movie. And I remember he's crying in the hotel room, and the hotel guy walks in and he's like, are those happy tissues or sad tissues? And probably not an appropriate joke, but I thought it was funny and it related to this in my mind. So there's some of my personal voice for you. Back to the topic is making them feel emotion. So emotion really builds loyalty. So think how Coca-Cola, every Christmas, they're hammering you with ads. It's snowing and family and happy and cozy, and they stir up those feelings of like warmth and family, like I mentioned. And your brand can do the same. So now that like what your whole vibe is and what that one sentence is of your mission, you can start getting nailed down on what those emotions you want your audience to feel. So use classic storytelling templates like the hero's journey or the underdog journey, like I mentioned, to craft that story arc that guides your audience on an emotional journey. So I'm not sure if my story is the hero's journey or, but I definitely feel like the underdog. And if you want more info on those templates, check out that article. As I mentioned, it's on Medium, or it's going to be, and I'll put that in the newsletter as well. So there's multiple different ways to cater to your audience. To frame that into another example to guys help you guys vision, help your guys' vision. You want to frame it as, let's say, when I mentioned that I was like this underdog story, I really believe in that because my mission, or one of my missions is, since I didn't start with a college degree, didn't have a lot of money, whatever, blah, 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 crying about my life. But I think it's really great when people also try to pursue the same things. And I like to help people see that what they're capable of, because I really didn't think I was shit for the longest time. And I would love if people, that are passionate about starting their own journey, their career, whatever that may be, like that's something I'm passionate about. And I believe that I started as like this underdog. Maybe it turns into this hero's journey someday when I've made it. I don't know, but that's just an example to kind of frame this so it makes a little bit more sense. Hopefully it doesn't make it more confusing. So the next step, number 4, memorable characters. Your brand needs a relatable character at its center. So whether that's you or someone else, like Mr. Clean, my bald brother from another mother, characters can help recognize and connect with your brands. So whenever I see that bald dude, I'm like, okay, he's cleaning. He cleans shit well. So obviously that's a memorable character. Instead of, a mascot or something like that, you could, introduce team members, customers, members in the community around the brand that, that are around your brand and that enrich that story of your brand. So the possibilities are really endless. And the key is to really show and not tell. So let actions reveal your character's traits and make them memorable. Whether that could be like again, like a hero, he's conquering a dirty mess. Sometimes that's like a stay-at-home mom, things like that. Some people like to add character or customer testimonials and making them the focal point. Things like that. It really depends what your audience, who you're trying to cater to, and the service you're trying to provide or product. Step number 5 now. So you want to add some conflict and resolution. So now that you have like your character, like we mentioned in the last step, what are they conquering? What is their conflict that they're doing? Like we want to solve a problem for your audience, right? So whether it's world hunger or simple service, customers want to see you can overcome challenges. So as a designer, I have a portfolio with case studies with different experiences and how I tackle problems. You may have testimonials. My dad used to own an electrical business, and all of his business came from word of mouth because people liked that he actually put in time and effort and gave a shit about the job he did, and he cleaned up. Which I went to so many jobs with him growing up, and nobody cleaned up their mess. I don't know what's up with that. I feel like that's just kind of like a respectful thing to do. Leave in the comments if you're an electrician or construction and what's it like out there anymore. So with that, conflict and resolution, here's some questions to consider. So what were the most significant challenges your brands face? How do these challenges shape your brand's identity? And what insights did you gain from these experiences? Think about these 3 things when you're thinking about what you're tackling and the resolution you're going to be providing. And now that you have your character mapped out, your mission, you're authentic, you got this whole problem that you're solving, make sure that it's culturally relevant. That's step number 6. Stay plugged in, folks. See what's happening around you, politically, socially, culturally. Obviously, sometimes we got to turn off some of that. The little news and the political ads are literally on my phone, texting me every day, every time I go to the gym. Getting sick of it. It's crazy. So do what you can. Just make sure you're aware and make sure that you're tuning your brand story to that culture that you're sticking with. So companies like Tesla or SpaceX, they're leveraging things like sustainability, innovation, building a future The survival of man. Excuse me. Woof. Can't do that. Humankind. Look at me correcting myself. My sister would be proud. For people. And sorry, for some people, that's what sells it. It's the hope and it appeals to their desires. So whether you believe in them or not, it makes for an engaging story. Like remember when Elon Musk launched a car into space, adding more useless junk into our atmosphere? Yes, that was cool. B, probably not really, but it was engaging. So the point is, make sure you're knowing that audience and you're engaging them actively because you really know who they are. And that falls back to my other story that I wrote about brands and creating one is that you need to be able to always consistently research your audience. So whether that's, every quarter or whatever you want to set for yourself, it's just making sure you're consistently in tune with that. And that also kind of ties into this last step, and that's the consistency part of this. And I hammer this everywhere, not just branding and things like that, but in life in general, consistency is key. And your brand story should fit across all your platforms, whether that's social media, your website, your ads. Create a storytelling guide to keep your message aligned. That could be pretty short and sweet. What is this storytelling guide? I'm so glad you asked. That is stuff like your brand values. So clearly articulate what is most important to your brand and how these values are reflected. And after you do those brand values, you want to go move to your brand's mission. What is the purpose? Define your mission and those challenges. And then you want to move to key story elements, identifying the characters, hammering down on what those specific characters' challenges are, and the resolutions that shape, your brand's narrative. Tone and style. Establish the tone for your storytelling, whether it's casual, professional, humorous, emotional. Make sure it just remains consistent throughout. And the last part of the storytelling guide would be messaging guidelines, something to think about, provide some easy advice on how to convey your brand story across all the platforms. It's just mainly that step is really for like dialing down what your tone and putting an example of messaging and things like that would be. It's not something I've done yet or gone to that level, but depending on how much you're a planner or how large your company is or how serious you're really trying to get with this, it really helps to kind of map out these things when you're building a serious brand. If you really want to take over the world with your little empire, I recommend, writing these things down at all times. All right. So we're wrapping this up. We got 7 steps. I know that was a lot. Honestly, it's probably easier to see it in writing too, so you can reflect on that and write things down as you're reading. But we're here on YouTube. So, what's next after this? And also, this is kind of like a quick summary to kind of help go over what we went over. 1, be authentic. Show who you really are. 2, clarify your purpose. Define why your brand exists. 3, invoke emotion. Craft stories that make people feel something. 4, create memorable characters. Give your brand a relatable face. 5, highlight conflict and resolutions. Show how you or this person, your character, overcomes these challenges. What is that? 6, I can barely use my hands anymore. Stay culturally relevant, connect with current trends, keep on those trends, and always just keep updating as you go. Sounds hard, but really it's not because we're already pretty much plugged into everything that's going on. So don't stress. And the last thing, maintain consistency. It's important. Keep your story aligned everywhere. You don't want someone to go somewhere and then somewhere else and like, what the hell? Why is this totally different? Is this the same person? This seems weird. Yeah, yeah, confusion, right? I know. So don't be confusing. It's like when you're dating, like you know, woman wants to date someone that's confusing and doesn't know what they want. So make sure you know what you want. So now it's your turn. Craft a brand story that speaks to who you are and let your audience connect with the real you. I try to do that by not deleting all these words where I'm fumbling and jumbling over them. And someday, in maybe 10 years, I'll get better at speaking on camera. But who knows? Might not. So, in a noisy world, authenticity is what's going to set you apart. Put in the effort, build lasting relationships, and watch the results. It may take time. You may need to tweak things. Results are going to happen. You just need to be patient. So, with that, thanks for watching. Let me know if you learned anything or if I left anything out. I'm always trying to improve. I always try to do a little bit of like research before I talk so I don't sound totally stupid. Yes, that's my dog walking and has to move every 5 minutes. He also has to sit at the couch and wait for my permission to get on the couch, and it's really annoying. But I appreciate you guys listening. Let me know what you think in the comments and how your brain is going. Love to talk about it.